What's up everybody, it's Matt from TDM Style here and welcome back to the channel for another hair product review, and this week we are here to talk about Anti-Gravity from the Lockharts. Now I know Anti-Gravity has been in the works for a long time. I believe that Steve said he was working on it for like 2 years and change. So it's finally here. There is a lot of hype around this product, and based on just the description of it alone, I mean, it's supposed to be a firm hold, matte finish, weightless paste, so that sounds like something that should be right up my street. So let's crack into it and see how it measures up. So from their website, they are saying Anti-Gravity is a matte paste, clay, fiber, cream hybrid, all rolled into one very unique formula. It has the consistency of a light fiber, applies like a cream, holds like a paste, and provides the texture and volume of a clay. So once again, that sounds like it's going to be super great, so let's get right into the review and see exactly how it works out. So let's take a look at the packaging first. So you can see that it comes in the classic Lockhart's 3.7 ounce amber plastic jar with the aluminum lid. I really like the look of the lid in particular. It's got this kind of shiny but also matte look. I just think the logo looks really cool. Looking around the side of the jar, we've got these kind of levels here. So we've got very high hold, volume, and texture, and very, very low, if not at all, shine. As we continue around, we've got Lockhart's Anti-Gravity Matte Paste, 3.7 ounces. Then we've got the directions and the ingredients. So, as usual, I like the Lockhart's packaging. I think it looks very like a classic pomade type of packaging. And this one in particular, as I mentioned, I really like just the look of Anti-Gravity. It's like this black and silver, just kind of matte. It looks good. It looks modern. It looks sleek. I like it. All right, next let's talk about the scent. I do really like the scent, actually. Lockhart's calls it Fortuna. I believe it's like a custom unique scent that they made. It's kind of cologne-y, not too cologne-y. It's pretty light. To me, it smells kind of citrusy and fresh, but it's different. It's really hard to describe. So there you have it. Citrus, cologne, sandalwood, all kind of rolled into one. And I do think that it's a nice scent. It's not too strong. I don't smell it once it's in my hair, so I think they've done a nice job with that. All right, next let's talk briefly about the ingredients. Now I will have the full ingredients list down in the description box below for you guys if you'd like to look at the whole thing. But the key elements that I'll highlight here that they mention on their website, again, they've got water-based so that it's water-soluble, washes out easily. Silica, which is supposed to absorb into the hair and plump it to make it fuller and thicker looking. Bentonite and Kaolin clay blends, which we all know those are the texture kings. We've got acrylates for strength and rigidity and all-day hold, coconut oil, cucumber fruit extract, rosemary leaf extract, and natural beeswax. And then if you look at the list, there's a whole bunch of other nice-sounding extracts and things in there that should be quite nice for your hair. All right, now let's get into the nitty-gritty and start talking about the fun stuff. So first, this scoop and the breakdown. Now, this scoops out of the jar in a very unique way. It's very easy, it's soft, it's light, it's creamy, but it's also sticky and it's very hard to describe. And the best comparison that I've come up with, which is really weird, but it makes sense in my head, it feels like the consistency of marshmallow fluff. So if you've ever made a peanut butter and fluff sandwich, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Breaking it down in the hands is very easy. As I mentioned, it's very creamy and light, so it's easy to break it down and emulsify. And as you're breaking it down in your hands, it does feel very tacky. I mean, you can feel this thing grip immediately. Now, applying this to the hair is pretty interesting, and I'm going to say that again, highly recommend that you follow the Lockhart's directions. So that means this: you are supposed to apply this stuff into damp hair before blow drying. And I totally agree with that. I have found for me, if I try to apply this into totally dry hair, it's just too sticky. It gets very tangly and kind of tuggy and pulley. But that is not the case when you apply it to damp hair before blow drying. So let's jump over to the demo footage so you can see exactly how this stuff styles into my hair. All right, so here we are with freshly washed hair, and I am going to start by putting in some 25 by the Salon Guy. I have found that for me with Anti-Gravity, if I use it on its own as a pre-styler without some other type of smoothing agent first, it can be a bit sticky and a little bit too tuggy and pulley for me, just because of my hair's natural tendency to be on the drier and coarser side. Once we're there, I'm gonna go in with just a dime-sized amount of anti-gravity, and really, that is all you need, guys. As I mentioned, it is very tacky, and you can feel the grip right up front, but if you use just a little bit, it will apply very easily into damp hair. I really have no issues tugging or pulling or anything at this point, but if you go in too heavy-handed, you are going to run into some problems. Once I've got the anti-gravity worked in, I am just going to run through it with a comb a little bit, just as they suggest to do that, just to make sure it's very evenly distributed. And now we're going in with the blow dryer again. As usual, I'm going to go through with my round brush and just do my normal style. And as you can see here at the end, we have got big volume, and you can see it's very weightless. Now with my studio lights here, my hair doesn't look quite as dry matte as it is in real life, but you can probably see a little bit, it is on the drier side, and I've noticed that if I try to go in with more anti-gravity as a post styler, it just kind of exacerbates that, and I end up with this kind of frizzy flyaway mess. So what I've found works best for me is to actually finish the style with a different type of product that has more of like a natural or even a low shine finish, just to kind of balance out the super dry, super matte finish that the anti-gravity provides, so that I end up back with a more natural looking hairstyle. So here I'm going in with a little bit of Bond Paste by the Salon Guy. Alright guys, so here we are at the end of the day. It's been at least 8 hours at this point, and as you can see, my hair is still looking quite good. All that volume and texture is still in there. It's still matte looking. It hasn't gotten at all oily or anything like that. Now, it is still lightweight, as I said, so if you kind of shake your head around, it still can be moved. It can be easily restyled. It doesn't really break down in that regard, even if you keep messing with it throughout the day, as I often like to do. So all in all, I think it withstands the test of time quite well. All right, and lastly, let's talk a little bit about price. So this comes in at $18.95 US for that 3.7 ounce jar, and of course then you've got shipping on top of that, which is probably run you another $4 or $5 or so. So you're looking anywhere around $22 total-ish. So I think that that's not a bad price at all, especially for the amount that you get, because you're only using a tiny bit at a time. So I think this jar is going to last you quite some time. All right, guys, so overall thoughts on Lockhart's anti-gravity. Now, this one is a bit of a mixed bag for me. I think there are a few things about it that I really like, and I think it does very well. And there are a few things that I don't quite like, and I don't think work very well for me and my hair type. So the things that I like about it: I like the scent, I like the volume that it creates, I like the very weightless feel to it. It's definitely very lightweight, and I like the texture that it creates. It is definitely a clay type texture that you get from it. And the things that I don't really like so much, number one, I don't think that it's like a super high hold for me, but we will expand on that in just a minute. I think the matte finish is too matte for me. It's like a dry matte finish, so much to the point that if I were to use this without some other type of finishing product that adds a little bit of that shine back in, my hair just ends up looking very frizzy and kind of fly away. And again, that might be related to just my personal hair type, because my hair tends to be on the drier, coarser side anyway. So with these super dry, super matte finish products, that's just what tends to happen. Now, to expand on the hold a little bit, I started testing this product before I got this haircut. My hair was longer. It was like down to my top lip. And when I tried it in that length of hair, the hold just wasn't there. It just kind of evaporated. But it was interesting because the volume stayed in there. I mean, even though, say I went to bend over to pick something up, my hair would just flop out of place. And while it was easy for me to just go like this and finger comb it right back into position, which I like that, it just didn't stay where I wanted it to stay by itself. I needed another finishing product. I needed either another a paste or a different type of clay, or a hairspray at least, or something. But like I said, the volume stayed around. I mean, even after sleeping on it day 2, my hair still was like the same height. It just didn't like to stay in place. So at this length of hair, it definitely works much better. I still don't think the hold is super high, because I can, if I shake my head around or whatever, it will still fall out of place, but not as much as it did when my hair was a bit longer. So I guess in conclusion, I can say that I think this will have a higher hold for you if your hair is, let's say, anywhere from 3 to maybe 5.5 inches maximum of length. Anything past that, I don't think the hold is really there. So really what it boils down to overall, I think that the Lockharts have made a really, really cool and unique pre-styler here. I think if you use this as directed, you put it into damp hair and you blow dry it, the volume and the texture and the weightlessness are awesome, and it works very, very well for those things. So that wraps things up for this anti-gravity review, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it and found it informative and helpful. If you haven't yet, click that subscribe button down there. Please do hit it. That really helps me out, and it's going to keep you up to date with all the content that I've got coming your way. And as always, thank you guys so much for coming by and watching, and we'll see you at the next one.